I am so glad that you're here because it is day 1 of our 5-day Manifesting Money Challenge. This is for those of you who are so ready, for you, if you're ready, to create that 5, 10, or 20K month. We're gonna talk about alignment to help you crush all of those quote unquote money blocks that everybody says you have that is preventing you from stepping into this higher level of abundance. My name is Jen Casey. I am a business strategy coach. I work with online entrepreneurs who want to go from social media to sales and step into authenticity in their business. We're talking selling with soul, and I'm all about manifestation. That is a huge, huge piece of how I've been able to grow as a human and grow in my business. How much are you manifesting? Because it's super important to set your intentions, to have that clarity around what you want to create in your business and in your life. So the first thing that you gotta realize is that money is actually really easy to manifest. You as a human being, the moment you came out of the womb, even before that, you're a spiritual being. And before you took this human form, you had intentions for your life. And now in your human form, you are constantly creating your reality. How many times throughout your life have you wanted something and then like all of a sudden the next day there it was? This idea that we all have these money blocks. I don't like the word block because I think it has a negative connotation. I think it really feels like there's something in our way that we can't get around. And where is it? We're almost like this mime, right? Where is this block? I can't see past it. I don't even know what it is. And when we go digging for things that may or may not exist, we'll find them. We'll find them, right? If you're like trying to find the thing that's blocking you, you will find something to block you. So how do we manifest money? That's why you're all here. I think it's important to recognize that it all starts with your alignment. Money is a byproduct of your alignment. And what your alignment is essentially, you know those moments where you're just like, I feel present, I feel connected to my inner energy, I feel joyful, I don't feel stressed, like everything's good. Some of you will have your own definitions and key identifiers for what alignment is for you. I know what it is for me. I know when I'm in alignment. Maybe you find it after a meditation where you just feel light and airy and you're like, wow, there's no tension in my body. This is amazing. Or maybe it's right after you do a Facebook Live and you're just glowing and you're on a high and you just feel in your purpose, you feel in alignment. So that's how I would describe it in my own experience. But when you're in that state, at any point of the day in your life, we are all carrying around a vibration. We all have a vibrational frequency, and most of us have a vibrational set point. So some of you may be in a chronic state of complaining and you're constantly mad and you're constantly experiencing things that only reinforce. And it's like, well, I told you so. Life is just crummy. Look at all of this proof that I have around me. Well, the more that you focus on that, the more you're going to get it. What you focus on expands, thoughts become things. And I remember back when I used to work in a restaurant, I actually had quit. I went and I was studying acting professionally, and I was in this conservatory program. And in that program, we didn't talk about law of attraction, we didn't talk about manifestation, but there was a huge focus on getting present in the moment. Because when you're on stage, you're present in the moment. You have to be paying attention to every little minute detail that the other actors are, whatever they're doing, what energy they're giving you, so that you can truthfully play off of them. And so there's a lot of getting present, there's a lot of listening, and through doing that and experiencing my own joy through that art form, I became extremely, extremely grounded and aligned. And the craziest thing happened one day. My manager called me and said, hey, listen, I know you have to leave by like 4 o'clock if you come in, but we really need you. I know you haven't worked here in like 3 months, but can you just come in and fill us in for the day? So I go into work and I'm feeling great. Like I'm in alignment because, you know, I'm doing all this deep inner practice. I'm shedding all these layers of all this BS baggage in an acting class. And I went into work that day. It was just the wildest thing. I went over to these tables. There's a morning shift where you would make maybe like $20 the whole day. And my first table, I just remember going up to them and being like, hi, welcome to Fridays. I'm Jen. And I was just so insanely present with this table. They were so blown away by me and my service. They left me a $20 tip on like a $20 meal. And I was like, this is amazing. Like, holy crap, I made all this money. Second table. Only 2 tables that day. Second table. Walk up, same thing, crazy present with them, extremely kind, extremely patient. All I did was bring them out some salads and burgers. Again, it was like a $15 check, $20 tip. And I remember this one girl I was working with, she's like, what? Are you kidding me? Tell me what you're doing. How are you doing this? And I was like, I don't really know, but this is pretty cool. Like, this is crazy. So here's why. Here's what happened. I was extremely present and I was in alignment. I had no resistance around money. Like, normally when I worked in a restaurant, it was like, oh, gotta make $100 tonight, gotta do this, gotta do that. And there was all this pressure around trying to get to a certain income level. But I was like, oh, this is just like free money, easy shift. I'm just gonna show up today. I don't have any money issues right now. So I went and I had no resistance around making money. And because I had no resistance, I was a vibrational match for all of this abundance. And I was in a place where I was so physically present with these individuals at my table that I was abundantly giving. And because I was abundantly giving to them, it opened me up to receive at higher levels, because my vibration that day was like all the way up here when normally it was like here. We'd get like tips, right? So that was one of my first experiences with like, holy crap, there's something to not just being nice to people, because you could be nice to people all day long, but it was really coming from a totally genuine place because I was in alignment, right? And when you can get into that higher level vibration on a more frequent basis, you raise your default set point of vibration, and all of a sudden you're going to start to notice things in your life unlocking. And you guys, maybe you're not a super woo-woo person. Maybe that's not your jam. But if you just think about it, when you go to a party, there's certain people that you're drawn to, right? People who you're like, oh, I don't know why, but I feel physically pulled to go and talk to that person. Or maybe your significant other, you felt pulled and drawn to go and reach out to them. There was something about them. You're like, it's intangible. I can't really put my finger on it, but I just know. And I have people all the time tell me, they're like, I saw you on social media. There's thousands of coaches, but I reached out to you because there's something about the way that you lead. There's something about your vibrational energy that I just really align with. And I'm just like, yeah, my woo-woo people, they're with me on this. All right. So how do you get into that higher vibe? Well, first thing is becoming aware of your vibration currently, kind of taking off the blinders and really recognizing where you are at right now in your life. So thoughts become things, right? Thoughts become things. What does that mean? We hear this a lot. A lot of really cool Facebook little pictures or Instagram pictures with all of these really nice sayings, but like, okay, cool, but like, how do I execute that? What do I do with it? Okay. So kind of some fundamentals here. Any thought that you have has two sides to it. It has the abundant side and it has the lack side. When people write down things like, I want to get out of debt, what end of the spectrum is that on? Well, it's actually on the lack side of the spectrum, because the universe doesn't understand no or not. Whatever you say, if you say debt, guess what the universe hears? It hears debt. And you're going to focus more on debt, draw in more debt, be in that vibrational frequency of debt. And some of you guys are going to say, I really want to manifest this money through my coaching services. And that's totally cool. And that's absolutely 110% possible. However, if you have some resistance around like, I really want to manifest 1K in 5 days, but can I do it? Guess what you just did? You were like, you shot off that rocket of desire. You were like, yes, but I don't think so. So you shot it out, and then you kind of were like, cancel that message, cancel that vibration. So just be careful of that. And so if you are getting specific and the specificity of it's going to come through coaching is actually preventing you from getting into alignment with that thought and that vibration, then don't give it, then go general. Like the answer is always go a little bit more general. You know what you want to feel. You know you want to feel abundant. You know you want to feel happy. And we're going to talk a little bit more about how to kind of step into that in a little bit. But go more general. That's the best advice. Not even for me. This is things that I have learned from some of the greatest spiritual teachers of our time. But it resonates. It resonates with you. It resonates with me because my inner being knows it, right? We know it. We know it on some level. That's why it resonates. Okay. So back in the day, a couple years ago, I was getting really into goal setting, and I didn't really understand law of attraction at the time. And I remember writing down, I really want to have a successful business. I really want to live near the city, near New York City. And then I started to really learn more about goal setting and the lack of power that you have when you write goals out that way. And it's really any intention, journaling, writing your goals. Instead of saying, I really want, because then you're really, again, focused on the lack that it's not there yet, we instead want to shift to say things like, I am so grateful that I have blank. Or I have, or I am, like affirmative things that are calling it in and making the stake, putting stake down and making it known that it's already on its way, or it's already here. It may not be in your physical reality, but in some plane, in some dimension, it's already here, it's already on its way. It's moments away. And so instead of just saying, I want, I like to say, I am grateful for, my $100,000 launch. And a couple years ago, April 2014, I wrote down, I had a $100,000 launch on a course that I created. And everyone thought it was crazy. And it's like, I wrote it down. And I did it. And I manifested that. And I said, I live in an amazing apartment with my incredible boyfriend and together 10 years. And we live in an awesome apartment. And we were like loving life, right? So all of the things that I wrote down on that paper freakishly came true. And it's like, well, what if I went even bigger with those beliefs and with that vision? How much could I have manifested? It's like you manifest $100,000. You're like, shit, I wish I asked for $1 million, right? But sometimes we've just got to honor where we are in that moment and just be able to prove it to ourselves. And be able to see, oh, it is possible. Sometimes when we stretch a little farther than we're ready for, it feels a little bit fake. And then if it's too far out there and we can't get into alignment with it and we can't move ourselves into that energy, then we end up creating resistance instead. So just be aware if that starts to come up for you. And one great little tip that she used to give out to our Law of Attraction peeps was, if you're saying I really want to make $1 million this year or whatever, right? That's pretty big number for a lot of people. So if you're having trouble with going, I'm so grateful that I have $1 million, and you're like, well, that feels fake. One thing that she used to tell people to do is say, I'm so grateful that I'm in the process of receiving $1 million, right? And that kind of opens it up because you're like, all right, no pressure. I'm receiving it. I'm in the process of it coming to me. So start there and kind of wiggle your way in. Like there's some of us are cannonballers. And some of us are toe dippers, right? So if you're a toe dipper, that's okay. That's fine. Like no right way to do this. All of the things I'm giving you right now are just for your consideration, for you to just kind of take it in and go, oh, that sounds good to me. That resonates. Oh, I don't really like how she said that. Boop, I don't need that one. Take what works for you, leave what doesn't. I just want to give you guys another way to look at this. If you watched The Secret, which I'm sure most of you haven't, if you haven't, it's great. Go check it out. It's a great kind of onboard to a lot of this discussion that we're having tonight, so go check it out. But it's this idea that I believe in the Secret, and you guys can tell me if I'm right because I'm trying to remember where I heard it. But they talk about how we have all of these thoughts. So I'm making up a number, but maybe let's say it's like 16 million thoughts, right? A minute a day, I don't remember. But we have a lot of thoughts, lots of thoughts, and some of us who are a little crazier, even more so, right? We have a lot of thoughts throughout the day. So if you're like, well, thoughts become things, Jen. How am I supposed to be aware of every single thought that comes through? I can't even do that when I'm quieting my mind and meditating. I just have 1 million thoughts going through. How do you control it? How do you manage it? How do you make sure they're all good ones, right? So that's the piece that's overwhelming for people. The good news is you've been given this amazing internal tool to help you with this. It's called your emotions, baby. Your emotions, right? So we've got our emotions. If you listen to anything Abraham Hicks, another amazing resource for all of you. Abraham Hicks, they have, if you could just Google it right now, the emotional guidance scale. And I actually pulled it up for you guys because I wanted you to see it. I don't know if you'll be able to see. Okay, no, there's my diva ring light. So this is the emotional guidance scale. Now up top here, this is joy, knowledge, empowerment, freedom. Then it's passion, enthusiasm, positive expectation, optimism, hopefulness, contentment. Now we're moving a little bit. This is in the middle. Boredom, pessimism, frustration, overwhelm, disappointment, doubt, worry, blame, discouragement, anger, revenge, hatred, rage, jealousy, insecurity, guilt, unworthiness, and at the very bottom, fear, grief, depression, powerlessness, victim. Right, so this is the emotional guidance scale. And there may be some words that you're like, well, I don't agree that should be there. I think these two should be swapped. That's fine. This is just a framework for you. You may feel more pulled to certain words and feel like it needs to be reordered. That's fine. Reorder it for yourself. But what's powerful about this is this has been an amazing tool in my life and in my work, where I'm like, okay, my goal is to feel good. That's the goal. Because when I feel good, I'm in alignment. And when I'm in alignment, I can manifest amazing things. And when I manifest amazing things, I can do more good in the world. And when I do more good in the world, I can create more abundance for everybody else. And on, right? So when you're in that place of depression or powerlessness or shame or guilt, those are on the downward side. Those are on the low or bottom chunk. And listen, there was a time in my life where I struggled with horrendous depression and anxiety. And I hid it from everybody. Not very well. But people didn't know the extent of and the depth of the sadness that I had. Okay, I was like legitimately, probs should have been on medication, right? But I just didn't understand my own psychology, and I didn't understand that I'm a bit of an empath, and so I pick up other people's emotions and energy. So when I was in a very toxic work environment and I was surrounded by a lot of negativity, I really carried a lot of that with me, and I didn't have the skill or the knowledge or the tools to release it. So if that's you, just something to be aware of. But what's beautiful about having this tool of the emotional guidance scale is you can say, okay, a little difficult for me today to really go from blame, which is a 15. I don't know if I can go from a 15 all the way to a 1, joy, loving, knowledge, right? And that's okay. Like some days it's easier to make that transition. Some days it's harder. And I think the more skill you have and the more tools you have in your back pocket, learning a lot of stuff recently about NLP, and that's been a game changer. Neuro-linguistic programming stuff has tremendously helped me. It allowed me to go from, days where I'm just like burnt out, boom, all the way at the bottom, go instantly to the top. But if you're a highly sensitive person and you're feeling resistance around somebody telling you, we'll just feel better, we'll just be happy. No, you don't have to do anything. So you get to choose, but here's a tool to frame it. So if you're feeling hatred and rage or anger or doubt, what if you just went up one notch? What if you just went up one notch? And then from there, what if you just went up one notch? And then what if you just went up one notch? And just to be aware of where you're falling, where when you're looking at this, really be honest with yourself, do a little intake and say, what is my default vibration? What is my default vibration? Because when you take a look around at everything that you have in your life or don't have, recognize, no blame, no judgment, just objectively acknowledge that the vibration that you hold most regularly is a reflection of everything that you have in your life or don't have in your life right now. So if your vibration that you're holding is at the level of money's hard to come by, people have to work hard for money, right? This is life is hard, everyone's against me, gotta do everything myself. That feels very, that's in the overwhelm, doubt, disappointment, worry, blame, like, life is hard. There's like this emotional heaviness. Do you think people are gonna reach out to you and go, hey, want to be on my podcast to inspire people? Hey, I think I want to hire you as my coach to inspire me and help me live a healthier, more fulfilling life. Hey, you really look like somebody who has, accomplished a lot of things. I really want to work with you. No, if you're holding that pissed off vibration all day, not even from an energetic standpoint, but just from who would you hire? Like, look at the people that you're hiring and really ask yourself, what is the vibrational frequency that they hold on a regular basis? And the people that you aspire to be like, what is the perception that you have around their vibration? So just some things to think about, right? So I think the last piece I want to just quickly touch on today is, if you are feeling in a lower vibration, what are some things that you do to make yourself feel a little bit more joyful? Because joy is the whole point. Like, if you're not happy, if you're not laughing, if you're not feeling joyful, you're missing the point. You're missing the point of this life. Like, life is not just to be tolerated. It's not just about work. It's not just about making money. Like, there's a bigger picture here that's being missed, right? So, what brings you alignment? What brings you alignment? Meditation, your devotional, gratitude. Oh man, gratitude, that is like, you cannot be depressed and grateful simultaneously. You could switch back and forth if you really want to and you're really committed to being mad, but you can't be grateful and pissed off at the same time. It just doesn't work. How many of you guys spend a decent chunk of your day being mad about business, being mad, like when you sit down to do work, you're like, I have to work today. I have to message people. I have to answer questions. You're like a little bit annoyed. What if instead of just sitting down after work to work your side hustle, you got up and you wiggled your butt a little bit. So yeah, those are some things. Like, figure out what that is for you. It's gonna be unique to you. It's so funny. I know when I'm in a bad mood, or I know when I'm like ready to be in a better mood, I just start singing. Because that's my joy. That's one of my biggest passions, is singing. So I will just notice that, and it's funny because the songs that come out of my mouth, they're songs that, like, where did that come from? Like, I'm a random, like, just broken jukebox over here. And the songs are usually a reflection of how I'm feeling in that moment. So it's, like, so funny to recognize those moments and just kind of say, okay, well, that's something that like I was thinking about that I needed to, like, let go of. I need to let go of that, sing it out, a little bit cathartic, so that I could step further into a higher vibration. Right? So just know that for yourself. Know what your anchors are, because those are going to be your joy anchors. Just making things up, right? Those are your joy anchors, though. Those are the things that are going to allow you to step further into a higher vibration when you're feeling a little bit down and out. And those are now your tools. Now that you're aware of them, go and journal some more and really figure out if it's calling a specific person who's not going to let you complain, but who's really going to help you reframe and say, okay, that's what happened. What are you going to do about it? That's what happened. What's the solution? That's what happened. How are you going to react in a way that's empowering and going to bring you to the next level of spirituality? So certain people in your life, right? Fitness, getting more in tune with your body, listening to certain music, go in and get in a massage. Like today, I went and got a massage before I got on this because I need to show up and practice what I preach and do some self-care. And actually, when I first came on, I was like, I'm pretty sure there's still a nice line around my head from the table. Thankfully, it's gone now, I think. But yeah, sometimes you just got to do those things. So what do you need to do to step further into alignment? Because if you want to create those 5, 10, 20, 100K months, online, manifesting things, money coming in, random places, you've got to be open to the possibilities. And you've got to, in order to be open to the possibilities, you got to get into the vibrational alignment of receiving, right? So that's what I have for you today. And if you're not already inside the Facebook group, Intuitive Boss Babes, I'll link that up for you below. But come and hang out with us in there. We're gonna be doing some like after party chats this week and just kind of sharing biggest takeaways. If you want to have some accountability with this 5-day challenge, go inside Intuitive Boss Babes. That's going to be the place where, you know, write out your journal of like the things, top 10 things that inspire you and get you into that higher vibration, higher alignment. And I want you to post it in there. Go post it in there after this so that you have some accountability. Find an accountability partner. We're going to do this together and we're going to manifest some big buckaroonies, right? Awesome! Well, thank you guys so much for being here tonight. I freaking love you guys. I appreciate you. And I will see you tomorrow for day 2. Bye! Mwah.